After 6 years of marriage, my husband left me for another woman because I couldn't give him a child. But the day her baby was born, his entire world collapsed. My name is Amara, and for 6 years I believed I had a marriage built on love, patience, and loyalty. My husband David and I met when we were both young and full of dreams. He was charming, funny, and the kind of man who made everyone around him feel comfortable. When we first got married, our life felt simple and full of hope. We lived in a small but beautiful apartment, and even though we didn't have much money, we had each other. Every night we would talk about the future we wanted to build together, and in every one of those dreams, there was always a child. David loved children. Whenever we visited friends or family who had babies, he would be the first one to carry them. He would smile and say, "One day we will have our own little one running around the house." I believed that day would come, but as time passed, things didn't happen the way we hoped. Months turned into years, and no matter how much we tried, I never became pregnant. At first we didn't panic. Many couples take time, and we kept telling ourselves that we just needed to be patient, but the longer it took, the more pressure started building around us. Friends began asking questions. Family members started giving advice we never asked for. Some people suggested traditional remedies, while others recommended doctors and treatments. Eventually we decided to visit a medical specialist. I remember sitting in the hospital waiting room, holding David's hand tightly. My heart was beating so fast because I was afraid of what the results might say. When the doctor finally called us into his office, I felt like my entire future was about to be decided in that small room. After several tests, the doctor explained that I had a medical condition that made it very difficult for me to conceive naturally. There were treatments we could try, but there was no guarantee they would work. When we left the hospital that day, David didn't say much. He just drove home in silence. I tried to stay positive. I told him that there were still options. Science had advanced a lot, and many couples had children through treatments, but something inside David had already started to change. At first the change was small. He became quieter. He stopped talking about the future as often as he used to. Sometimes I would find him staring at nothing, lost in his thoughts. Then one night during dinner, he asked a question that made my heart sink. "What if we never have a child?" He said. I tried to smile and reassure him. "We still have each other," I told him. "And there are other ways to build a family." But the truth was, I could see the disappointment growing in his eyes. Over the next year, our marriage slowly began to crack. David started coming home later and later. Sometimes he said he was working overtime. Other times he said he was meeting friends. Whenever I asked too many questions, he would get irritated. "Why are you always suspicious?" He would say. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to trust the man I had married, but deep down, a small voice inside me kept whispering that something was wrong. One evening, David walked into the house looking nervous. He sat down across from me in the living room but refused to meet my eyes. My heart began to race. I had a feeling that whatever he was about to say would change everything. "Amara," he began slowly, "there's something I need to tell you." The tone of his voice made my stomach twist with fear. Then he took a deep breath and said the words that shattered my world. "I met someone else." For a moment, I felt like the air had been knocked out of my lungs. Before I could even respond, he continued speaking. "She's pregnant." The room felt like it was spinning around me. My husband had cheated on me. And the woman he cheated with was carrying a child, the one thing he believed I could never give him. Tears filled my eyes as I struggled to speak. "So you're leaving me?" I asked quietly. David didn't hesitate. "Yes," he said. In that moment, I realized something painful. The man sitting in front of me was no longer the person I married. Within weeks, David packed his things and moved in with the other woman. Our divorce followed soon after. The months that followed were some of the darkest days of my life. I felt abandoned, betrayed, and deeply broken, but slowly, I started putting my life back together. I focused on my work. I spent more time with my family. And little by little, I began healing. Almost a year passed before I heard from David again. One evening my phone buzzed with a message from a number I hadn't seen in a long time. It was him. At first I didn't want to open the message. But curiosity eventually won. The message was short. "Amara, I made the biggest mistake of my life." I stared at the screen, confused. Then he explained everything. After the baby was born, he had started noticing small things that didn't make sense. The child didn't resemble him at all. At first he ignored the doubts, but eventually the suspicion grew too strong, so he decided to do a paternity test. When the results came back, the truth finally revealed itself. The child wasn't his. The woman he left me for had been seeing another man at the same time. David had destroyed our marriage for a lie. When I finished reading his message, I expected to feel anger, but instead, I felt something surprising: peace. He called me several times after that, begging for forgiveness. He said he finally understood what he had lost. He said he wished he could turn back time and undo his mistakes. But some things in life cannot be repaired, and betrayal is one of them. So I sent him one final message: the day you chose another woman was the day you lost me forever. After that, I blocked his number and moved on with my life, because sometimes karma doesn't come with anger or revenge. Sometimes it simply reveals the truth, and the truth always finds its way to the surface.